question. If you could make a perfect world, what would you put in it? What kind of things would be important? Good thing I have a book about it. All right, this is Mildred Builds a World, and I'd really like to read it to you. All right, this is Mildred. At the age of 7 3/4, she's pretty smart. Like most kids her age, right? Grown-ups are always telling her she's perceptive, which is fancy talk for she notices a lot of things. Some of the things that Mildred notices are pretty spectacular. Take bumblebees, for example. I mean, they're shaped like jelly beans and they can still fly. Or sprinkle donuts that are crispy on the outside, squishy on the inside, and covered in bits of rainbow. And then there's fluffy new tube socks, right out of the package. Some things, however, are not so spectacular. Mildred's already 7 3/4, so she's definitely old enough to notice when people do mean things they shouldn't do, or forget to do things that are really important. Mildred notices what happens when things get messy. When she notices not so spectacular things happening, especially things that could be different, Mildred gets miffed. She gets peeved. On occasion, she even gets royally cheesed. And you don't want to be there when she's royally cheesed. That's royally cheesed. Once in a while, Mildred has a day when she thinks she'd like to live somewhere else. Somewhere without people being so messy or forgetty. Today is one of those days. On her way around town, Mildred notices about a gazillion pieces of garbage. She sees sad-looking animals and plants. She hears people forgetting their manners, people who are really busy and pushy, people with angry voices and angry words. Today, things seem extra messy, super forgetty, and quite frankly, more than a little bit mean. On this particular day, Mildred thinks that maybe if she built her own world, she could make it a non-messy, non-forgetty, don't do mean things kind of place. Wait, what? Build her own world? If she did that, she could tidy up the messy, remember the forgetty, and even nice up the mean. How hard could it be? She is, after all, 7 3/4 and very perceptive. Mildred hurries home and clears a huge world-size patch of floor in the basement. She gathers paper, scissors, glitter, paint, clay, boxes, string, wind-up toys, sticky tape, and anything else that might be put together in an interesting way. She is ready to build a world. Mildred starts by unmessing the messy part. Everyone needs a clean world, right? In Mildred's world, the air is crisp and feels good to breathe. The water is sparkly fresh. There is no nasty garbage hanging around. Mildred makes all kinds of trees, big and leafy. She folds and fashions plants and flowers. She builds her world with animals, birds, and fish, and bugs too. Gotta have bugs. Whew! New worlds are exhausting. She reminds herself to stay hydrated. Very important. Next, she remembers the forgetty part. In Mildred's new world, no one gets left out. Everyone gets a comfy, safe home. There are places to go when they feel afraid or lost. When they feel sick, afraid, or lost. That's important. Everyone has cool and amazing places to play, or to learn, play, and work. There are farms and parks, and art galleries, movie theaters, libraries, sports fields, and nice places to eat. Everyone in Mildred's world gets what they need. They have full bellies, full minds, and strong bodies. No forgetty allowed. While she's thinking about full bellies and strong bodies, Mildred stops for a snack and does some light stretching. Good idea. The last part is the hardest. She's figured out the messy stuff and the forgetty stuff, but how do you nice up the mean stuff with things like crayons and stickers? Will sparkles, sticky tape, and pipe cleaners do the trick? Is this something she can fix with her supplies? Mildred isn't exactly sure, but she decides to give it a try. It might help if people were free. Being allowed to think for themselves and make their own choices seems really important, so Mildred does her best to make room for that. She opens up some space for people to listen, to come up with shiny new ideas, and to share. It also seems important that people be allowed to be different. Different seems more interesting and definitely less mean. She builds all that in too. Mildred's a little tired now, but there's still one very, very important thing left to add. This new world needs one last bit. She makes lots of room for big, squishy love, even more spectacular than bumblebees, sprinkle donuts, or new tube socks. That's spectacular. Yes, the world needs this, maybe more than anything else. Mildred sits in the middle of this new world. It's got everything she thinks people need, everything that seems important for a world to have. But Mildred is, what's that word again? Perceptive. She's good at noticing things around her, and something catches her attention. She's on her own. She's done as much imagining, cutting, pasting, building, painting, and arranging as she can, but it still feels like being in this spectacular new world by herself isn't really enough. Mildred wonders what might be going on in the messy, forgetty, sometimes mean world outside. Sure, it's pretty cool in here, maybe even perfect, but the world out there might still need her. What will they do without her to notice things? What will they do without her to make things? What will they do without her to help fix things? Mildred decides that if she's smart enough and perceptive enough and even 7 3/4 enough to build her own world, she can do even better things in the world out there. She gives her own little world a wink, stands up tall, as only a perceptive 7 3/4 person can, opens the door, and... All right, if you like this book, I'm going to put some really cool links to some neat stuff down below. Please check it out, and thank you for listening.